Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through another code review lab and take a look at a challenge called Boarding Preview. So the description reads, GateBlow is an airline self-check-in kiosk management system used across major airports. The platform includes a web-based admin interface where ground staff can preview boarding passes before printing. A recent audit flagged the passenger name preview feature for review. Examine how passenger data flows through the preview system and identify potential security concerns that could affect internal airline operations. So this is ranked as easy. We're trying to identify cross-site scripting, and the application is written in PHP. So let's get to it. All right, so let's get started with index.php since this is going to be where our application will fire off. So at the top, we're including auth.php and config.php from the includes directory. We have some session checks here to ensure that the session staff ID session is set, and if it's not, then we will redirect the user to login.php, which I do not see in here, but we can assume there's probably some sort of like login mechanism and form in there. Anyway, so then we have two more variables in here, staff name, and that stores the session for staff underscore name, and then one for assigned terminal that gets stored in the terminal variable. And then down here we have some HTML, which uses, let's see, echo, HTML, special characters, staff name, and terminal, which those are the two variables on line 12 and 13 that are echoing here. And this will say echo, so place this in the screen, and then HTML special characters or special chars. So this function here is actually helping prevent cross-site scripting, which is what we're actually looking for. And moving on, we have the basic navigation, but I don't see anything in here that screams cross-site scripting. I'm going to go ahead and start looking at auth.php though. This is requiring config.php, which is in the same directory. And we have a verify staff session function, which is doing more just session checks to make sure we're logged in and we have a proper session established. And if we don't, we're going to be redirected to /login.php. And then we have a session timeout to make sure that this looks like it's checking for 8 hours. And if it's the session last activity is greater than 8 hours, we will destroy the session, redirect the user to login.php and attach timeout equal 1, and then exit. And then one last function in here, get staff permissions, which passes in staff ID, which looks like in here it's using some PDO. So PDO in PHP helps prevent SQL injection attacks. So this is using db prepare, select permissions from staff where ID equals, and then this is our placeholder for right here. And the way that this is set up using PDO is going to help prevent SQL injection attacks in PHP. So everything in here looks fine. Let's take a look at passenger service.php. Looks like we have a class in this one with a constructor function to communicate out to our database, and then we have two functions in here, get passenger by PNR, which passes in this variable here. So these look like they're doing relatively the same-ish thing. These are making SQL calls. This is doing a select all from passengers, where PNR code equals whatever is passed into the function and then fetching that data. This one is updating passengers set check-in status where the ID equals, and then these are passed into the function and then executed here. So no cross-site scripting in here. Config.php is just setting up communications to looks like a MySQL database, and then we have everything configured in here. And if we do have any issues communicating to our database, we will log a database connection failed, log why that failed, and then die, and then system temporarily unavailable. So that's everything inside the files and includes. Let's take a look at preview underscore pass.php, which is making a call to auth and passenger services right here. And then there's the verify staff session, which I believe that was verify staff session. So right there, that's where that function was set up, and here's where we're calling it. Then we have 4 variables, which it looks like it's saying flight number equals, if this is set, request flight, if this is our condition, since this is a ternary operator, this would be the true value, and then colon our false value if this is not met. And that's the same for name, C class, and gate. So we're checking the requests for name, class, and gate, and then passing back like a false value and a true value for our ternaries in here. Some more HTML in here, and then this is just creating that out. Echo, special characters, flight number, and then let's see, echo, request name. So this is interesting. Echo, HTML, special characters, flight number. So flight number, we have C class and gate. Flight number, C class, and gate. This one is just saying echo request name. This does not have the HTML special characters function around this value. And I believe the way that this should have been set up is HTML special characters and then using this name variable here rather than just it being set right here. So I believe this is actually going to be where our cross-site scripting is. Let's look at the last file and then prove that out quickly, just to make sure. So flights.php include auth, include config, and then there's the verify staff session function again. And then more PHP PDO action in here. And then more markup, so body, HTML special characters, terminal. And then here we have a for each loop, so flights as flight, and then we're going to loop through those and create some table data, and then output the flight number, destination, gate status, and then a link. And everything in here looks like it's utilizing some method of escaping user supplied input. So let's go over here and take a look at preview pass one more time. And I'm actually going to try something with this in just a second. So give me a second. I'm going to get this set up in my Kali Linux VM. All right, so what I've gone ahead and done is I migrated that PHP code over, and I'm just making sure everything looks like it's working just fine. So we open it up here, and I'm ruling out there's any sort of dependencies or anything that code needed. I don't see a reason to keep this or this function here, because our main goal is to prove out this as the issue. So let's see. I have PHP running in here, so PHP tag capital S localhost 8888. That's found right here, so it looks like we have like a running application. So this should be kind of like a catch-all in PHP for get and post. But if I do something like get name, or say, what is it? Name equals test in a string, so we see test is displayed here. Let me zoom in, make sure. But up here we have name equal test, and then we see that output here. So in theory, something like script tag alert1 does indeed launch some cross-site scripting. Now the way that this should be remediated is utilizing this function. Let's take a look at this quickly. So convert special characters to HTML entities. So this is going to be what we use to help prevent cross-site scripting. And what we should do then is, if we're going to refactor and remediate this, and then I would honestly get rid of, let's see, we still need the echo, but the idea behind this is we should be using this variable here to keep with consistency. So if we did this, this should actually prevent the cross-site scripting. So now it's coming in here as a literal string, and it's not actually being interpreted as HTML. So again, if you remove this function, now this name is still using the request name up here, so user supplied inputs coming through the URL. Now you can see that's fired off. So that's why that function is important in this case to help prevent that attack. So hopefully that made sense. So I'm back in Code Review Lab and I'm going to highlight line 26 as the vulnerable line of code. So let's submit and challenge solved. So pretty easy. I did enjoy that one though. That was a lot of fun. So let's see. The vulnerability exists in the boarding pass preview functionality where the passenger names from request name are directly echoed into the HTML output without any sanitization or encoding in preview underscore pass.php on line 18. Right here, to display the passenger name, which allows an attacker to inject arbitrary HTML and JavaScript code. This is a classic reflected cross-site scripting vulnerability where when airport staff use the preview function with a malicious passenger name like document.location steals. So this would be a way of performing some sort of session hijacking attack. In this case, they're using an example to steal cookies. So if the cookies don't have any protections around them like HTTP only flag, then this would be a way for an attacker to steal someone's session. So that was a lot of fun. Hopefully you learned something from this video and that it provided you value. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and a comment below. Feel free to subscribe if you like this content. You have a wonderful day, happy hacking, and take care.